What's going on, y'all? This is Usay Perez, the good friend, your entrepreneurial hippie. I'm back for another episode of the Self-Love Project. Thank you so much to everybody who actually watches all of these videos. Like, I literally have to remind y'all sometimes of how much I appreciate the fact that y'all actually watch these. I've been doing these videos now for about roughly a year and a half, 2 years. I'll hop off of it for a second, then I'll get back on it, because we all kind of dealing with stuff ourselves too, so I just appreciate the fact that you all are actually here to listen to the message that I try to convey. For some of you all who haven't seen any episodes, or maybe have just seen the past few recent episodes, this channel is dedicated to mental health awareness, mental health advocacy, and showing yourself self-love, because everything starts with self. Any problems that you have, anything that you might be going through, most of the time, you can help it for yourself. And if you can't, it takes you to make the decision that you need to find the help. So I started out doing it talking about Byron Katie. I was doing a case study that she had come up with called The Work, where it was an alternative to be able to solve our own problems. After that, I started interviewing people, was getting them to do the work to see if it would help. I was interviewing people who have either tried to commit suicide or know somebody who's tried to commit suicide. After that, I kind of steered it back inwards to myself, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. I want to be able to show people what I do, to be able to show the things that I go through and the things that I do to deal with it. Because honestly, the work was great. I do use it personally, but then there are other things that I use as well. And I can't be out here trying to tell people how to live if I'm not living right myself, So, that also ties into the little breaks that I've been taking in between, because, mental health is something that's very important to me. And I feel like if it's something that I'm going to speak on, I've got to be in a good mental state of mind myself, So the second part of the series was basically based around me talking about what I do in the course of when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling lonely, when I'm feeling depressed, anxious, all of the above. So this past little season, I guess you can call it, that I've been working on, I've just kind of been doing a free-for-all. The first one that I did for this season, I was able to interview Latangela Newsome, who used to be an actress on Taina on Nickelodeon back in the early 2000s. She was one of the stars I looked up to the most. Why? Because even though she was sassy, she was fierce and everything, she really still showed that, having love for self is important, still respecting others. You can goof with people, but you still gotta respect them. If y'all catch some of her episodes, y'all understand what I'm talking about. After that, I started something called the District Neo-Tarek Fashion Show. It was a show that was emphasizing how DC could be the next fashion capital of the world, but at the same time, we're not gonna have that happen unless we come together as a community. And so that's what that was based around. I did model calls, I did interviews with people, everything you could think of, and again, because I needed to work on things on myself, I was not able to make that happen. Not to say it's not going to happen in the future. I actually have something I'm planning now that's going to be much better, and I'm actually changing the name of it from the District Neo-Tarek Fashion Show to the Self-Love Project, because honestly, this is something that I started before that, and it's all tied around the same thing. It's all tied around mental health, so there's no need to name these things a whole bunch of different names and having people confused and all of that good stuff. So now that I've brought y'all up to speed, let's bring up today's episode. So as y'all know, every now and then I'll bring up books that I'm reading or things that I think are insightful to be able to share with other people. So today I'm bringing back this book. I know y'all probably remember it from some book recommendations I did in a prior episode, but even then I had said that I hadn't finished the book yet because it was just a lot to take in. So I finished it. This is called Meditation in the Mind of Man by Edgar Cayce. And it's an amazing book. It was very difficult for me at first because a lot of the concepts that were brought up in it were very deep, were very overwhelming. Like some of the things that it kind of brought up were things that I hadn't even thought of since I had been in the church. It's a very spiritual book. So just to give you a little bit of an outline on it, what it talks about is why do we meditate? What is the purpose of meditation? How we should meditate? Even though there are multiple ways to meditate, there are different things that people do. Some people sit cross-legged. Some people want to sit in a chair with their back straight. They just gave their recommendations on what they felt like were the most successful ways in their personal lives on how they have meditated. They've used scriptures from the Bible to also advocate the things that they speak about. Jesus Christ is a main component in this book. So if you all are religious, if you're spiritual, if you're just trying to figure out a way to be able to do for yourself a little better, I would definitely recommend this book. So it starts out talking about how we're all one. You know, the God energy that is in Jesus Christ is actually found in all of us. And I'm sorry I keep looking over there. I hear kids. I'm in a park, if y'all couldn't notice. So I hear kids screaming. I'm just making sure everybody good, you know. But it talks about our oneness with God and how Christ actually helped to exemplify that. And in his teachings, he tried to show us how we could be like him in ways that we will be connected to God. And that's one of the things about meditation. You shouldn't meditate to try to find you know, these psychic experiences. You shouldn't meditate just to daydream. You shouldn't meditate solely to silence your mind. And if you all have heard some of my other videos, you know that's something that I've been standing on. You got to silence your mind to be able to hear the things that you're meant to hear and stuff like that. And although that is true, that is not the point of meditation. The point of meditation is to get closer to God, to get closer to that higher self, to get closer to your purpose. So that is the full roundabout about why we meditate. And then on top of that, it also mentions how prayer is extremely important and how prayer and meditation should really coincide with one another. They are one and the same. You can't have one without the other. And it also gives examples of how to pray, how you should pray. It gives suggestions for prayers if you don't have one off the bat that you'd like to use. It mentions the Lord's Prayer a lot and the importance of the Lord's Prayer and how it actually coincides with each of our chakras. So for those of you who are not familiar with what chakras are definitely an energy point or a main energy home base in the body. There are multiples, but the main ones that are spoken about in the book are the 7. You know, the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the sacral, the root, and I feel like I'm missing a couple, but y'all know what I'm getting at with that. All 7 of the points. And it actually talks about how the Lord's Prayer coincides with each of the chakras. Now, for those of you who may be wondering what chakras, energy points, how do we know that's actually real? How do we know that, you know, these energy points actually exist? Well, it's because these energy points are actually glands that are already in your body. So like, with the third eye, it's connected to the pineal gland. You've got glands down here that are connected to your sacral chakras. You know, there's a whole chart. Let me see if I can find it off the quickness that explains it. See? I gotta refocus this. But you see it. I know you probably can't see it for real, because it's probably blurry because I have it on manual focus so that it's not bouncing the focus everywhere while I'm talking. But that's what it is. This is a very dope book, and after I read this book, it made me feel a lot better. It made me feel a lot more confident about why I meditate, how I meditate. And I've actually been meditating more as a personal preference, not like it said to do so in the book, but I've been meditating more as a personal preference to try to get closer to God, because I feel like, especially after I realized that I couldn't have this fashion show anymore, as I mentioned in the video right before this one, that I went into a very dark place. So I just needed something personally that I felt like could work, and since meditation has always been my run-to anyway, being able to finish this book and understand the true purpose of why we meditate really helped me out a lot. So if you all want this book, you can find it on Amazon. You can find a used copy. This was a used copy, as you can tell, for like $2 and then maybe $3 for shipping. It's definitely worth the investment. Just be prepared. As I said, the first part is kind of heavy, the first 2 chapters, but after that it's smooth sailing, because then it tells you meditation, it tells you how to meditate, the purpose of it, so on and so forth. But you know, you got to lead up to that. So I just want to thank you all so much. I will be coming out with something else a lot closer to the time being, and that's what it is. So I hope y'all have a good day. Oh, I forgot too. How you doing? I forgot too, I wanted to mention, so I'm literally becoming a lot better when it comes to the business aspect of my photography. I officially have a booking website, I have a new work number and all that, but I say that to say that the work number for my job, for my photography, for my career is also going to double as the Good Friend Hotline. And so, the Good Friend Hotline. If you ever need somebody that you need to talk to, you don't feel comfortable talking to friends, family, you don't feel like talking to a professional, you just really need somebody to listen, you need somebody to be able to sit and be that good friend to you in the time that you need it, in the time that you feel like no one else can, that is literally what the Good Friend Hotline is going to be used for. That number is 240-294-3381, the Good Friend Hotline. And it's something I started literally today, launched today. And the reason that I'm doing it is because, you know, some people, you may be going through something that you don't even want to tell your best friend about. But, you know, communication is how we actually, like, help to get over certain things. Like, my best friend Chakras Smith had to remind me that, you know, like, we communicate to help release. You know, so if you need that release but you don't know who you can release to, I'm always here. Again, that's 240-294-3381, the Good Friend Hotline. And I hope y'all have a great day. Much love.